Swamin Namaste Natalokabandho Karunya Sindho Patitam Bhavabdhau Mamuddharatmiya Kataksha Drishtya Rijvyati Karunya Sudhabhivrishya Swamin Namaste Swamin Namaste Swamin Namaste Swamin Namaste Jnanaswarupam Nijabhavayuktam Anandamaनन्दकरं prasannam Yogindramedhyam Bhavarogavidyam Srimadgurum Nityamaham Namami Srimadgurum Nityamaham Namami Nityaya Satyaya Chidatmakaya Navyaya Bhavyaya Paratparaya Shuddhaya Buddhaya Niranjanaya Namostu Nityam Guru Shekharaya Namostu Nityam Guru Shekharaya Namostu Nityam Guru Shekharaya Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. Now, we come back to what I want to discuss with you and share with you. What is that? How to become Nitya Yukta, ever connected with your own self, with God, and with Brahman, with everything. How do we do it in the midst of activities and everything? You know, I'll take one shloka from Bhagavad Gita, 12th chapter. Don't open your books. It is the second shloka of 12th chapter. What it says is, Maya Veshya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. Maya Veshya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. Lord Krishna says that those who infusing me, what is this me? Not the Krishna, the human Krishna. Who is Krishna? Krishna is a warrior. Krishna is in the Yadukula dynasty. Krishna is Arjuna's cousin brother. But this whole conversation is taking place where? In the battlefield. And Arjuna has told, please teach me, give me instruction. I am your Shishya, I am your student, and you please give me instruction as a guru would do. Now, when can a guru give instructions for people who are deluded, who are in ignorance, who are in fear, who are in depression? The guru must be such a person who has crossed all that and who has become one with the infinite, one with the self, one with the Brahman. That is, the guru must be self-realized. So in Bhagavad Gita, wherever, you see, in the beginning you will not find all this me. But when he starts saying, he's saying this, Lord Krishna is saying, those who infusing me means here the Supreme Self. Because Krishna is now giving all his instructions from that level or that height where he is one with the universal self. So he says, infusing me in your mind. Those who do that, they infuse me in their mind, worship me through a note of constant identity. Right? You understand that? Nitya Yukta, constant identity. Everything may be happening in their lives, but they never forget the fact that I am one with God within me and outside me. This fact they do not forget. So that is what, once you are a seeker, all of you who have come here, you are interested in listening, and you have been maybe pursuing in different manner. Your first identity, once you step into the spiritual line and you get interested in the spiritual line, your first identity should be, I am a seeker. I am a devotee first, and then everything comes in. So I am a seeker, I am a devotee. Just like a father, when he becomes a father first, initially he will be feeling, oh, I've got a child now, so I am a father. After some time, he will not have to remember. It will become his own. Similarly, throughout the day, one has to remember this fact that I am one with God. Now, who is this God? We have not seen God. We don't know. We just know some characteristics about God. And we worship God. And we try to read these books and try to form some ideas. How can we become one with that God? What does these instructions of Krishna or whoever in the other scriptures tell us? What is to be done? We will discuss that. So he says that, worship me through a note of constant identity, impelled by the highest attitude and aim. Paraya Shraddha. The second line says, Shraddhaya Paraya Petaha Te Me Yuktatama Mataha. Their Shraddha, their attention, their aspiration should be supreme, sincere. So, look into yourself. You have aspiration, but is it sincere? Is it 100%? Or you can assess how much percent it is. Suppose you find that it is 40%, then you should feel that, oh, I do not have that paraya shraddha, that is the wholesome shraddha I do not have, but I must increase it. How it is to be increased? It is all told in this book and other books, and we will slowly grow. So, today suddenly in the morning, I was thinking that what is to be taught today, and then suddenly I hear that my session has been advanced to 1:30. So I was really thinking that what all to be told. And then when I was thinking, I was feeling that actually there is so many things to be told. So many ideas are there, misconceptions are there, the hindrances that one faces in spiritual pursuit are there. How all that can be told in this small time? Small time. Say 3 days, 1 hour, 15 minutes. Out of that, half an hour goes in question answer. That is very good. But still, theek hai. Whatever comes to the mind, whatever I can share, and as I say, I can share only that which I have experienced in my journey at the feet of my Guru. So, this says this. So, Maya aveshya mano ye mam nitya yukta. This word you must remember. Make a card and write it on the wall or stick it. Nitya yukta. Your aim should be what? Nitya yukta. That is a constant identity. Constant identity. What is the identity? I am a part of God. I am God's and God is mine. Or I am the self. If you do not want to think of God, when we have been brought up, when we say God, so many ideas, so many deities come in mind. But God is not that. God is an all-pervading thing. In Srimad Bhagavatam it says Vadanti tat tattvavidaha tattvam jnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. What is it? All the confusions about God, self, Brahman should be completely today dissolved. What? It says, Vadanti tat tattvavidaha. Who are telling? Vadanti means they say. Who are saying tattvavidaha? What is the tattva? The supreme truth, the wisdom. Those who have known the supreme truth, they are called tattvavit. One in singular it is tattvavit, in plural it is tattvavidaha. So they say, the tattvavidaha, they say that tattvam jnanam advayam, there is only one knowledge. There is only one, without second. There is no second factor. So it is only one self, Brahman, God, whatever you can call it, Paramatma, it is only one. And there is no two. So, whatever you may call, if you want to think of only Brahman or self, you do not get these forms and deities and worship and all that. It doesn't strike with you so much. I find that our devotees, some get very confused when we are talking about God, at the same time talking about self. Oh, how do you relate the two? It is the same. Because the characteristics of all of these are same. And ultimately, as you see the scriptures, you will find Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine. Bhagavan and Guru and Atma, all are same. All are same. So this says, Vadanti tat tattvavidaha tattvam jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti Bhagavan iti shabdyate. So the tattvavits, those who have known the knowledge or those who have realized the knowledge, supreme truth, they say this is only one. Jnana is not separate. That is, for Bhagavan it is something, for Paramatma it is something, for Brahman it is something else. It's not. It is the same jnana, same truth. So whether this jnana itself is, either you call it Brahman, or you call it Paramatma, or you call it Bhagavan, God. So that is clear now. So in whichever manner you want to think, you may have forms in mind, that is okay. But know that this form is not limited. It is unlimited, all-pervading. It is changeless, immortal, birthless, deathless, imperishable, fearless, unaffected, unafflicted. This is what Brahman, self, God, everything is, and we also are. Because it is one, it is not that I've experienced something else. I am a part of it. And that God, the indweller, from the presence which we all can feel, the mind and intelligence, through the mind and intelligence, it is inside us and it is everywhere, everywhere. Although there is plurality everywhere, the substratum is the same. And only because the substratum is changeless, we are understanding all the changefulness over it. Just like a clock. Say the clock, wall clock you can say, or big clock, or any kind of clock. There is a base on which are written the numbers 1 to 12. And there are two hands. The hands are moving. So we are able to understand the time. Suppose the hands were also moving and the base was also moving, then will we understand anything? No. So it is like that. The self is one, the Brahman is one. And why is this plurality? It is said that it is the wish of the self to express itself in plurality. And it has manifested in everything. And ultimately, when we go deeper and deeper, everything is unreal. The only real thing is the Brahman, and that is the only consciousness it is there. So, okay, now I'm trying to tell you, in your sadhana or in our sadhana, how do we remain connected to this thought? We forget it constantly, right? So, now in 16th chapter, Krishna is telling Arjuna what is the mind of human beings. And because the mind is like that, they never understand their connection with the Supreme. Now, we are always looking outside and thinking that from outside objects we will get happiness, as we have been discussing. We do not look inside and see the fountain of joy, delight, and the restfulness that we have. If we can get into that, we will be peaceful eternally, happy eternally. There is a flow of delight inside us. So Krishna is telling Arjuna in various manners where we have to make effort to make the mind calm. When the mind is calm, the self will get revealed. We are constantly saying, I am the self, I am not the body. I have a body, mind-intelligence complex, which belongs to the world. All my body, mind, intelligence, and the world is changeful, whereas my inside, which is witnessing everything, is changeless. Now, why are we not able to understand that? Because the mind is full of thoughts. Just, everybody knows, our mind is full of crisscross, going on and on and on and on and on. So what does it say? In 16th chapter, Arjuna is being told by Krishna. See, it applies to all of us. What is it says? Chintam, it is 16 point, I'll start from 16.11. Chintam aparimeyam cha pralayantam upashritaha. Don't read the book. Just listen. Shravana. Book will only distract you. By the time you get the sloka, you will not listen to what I've said. Actually, it is always nice to take notes. We have got used to in our studies. So when I came in Swamiji's association, Swamiji would not allow us to write anything. Why are you opening the book? Close your notebook. So it became very difficult. But then I understood that gives the focused attention. Then you can reflect as while hearing you are reflecting, and you must find some time to write whatever you understood in 2 lines, in 3 lines. But what all of you will do, exactly what Nuthan Swamiji says, as soon as the session is over and there will be some tea or other things, you will chit-chat with others and forget what is to be internalized. So that there comes the seriousness, sincerity of your aspiration. It can be increased. I always say, never get depressed. Never feel you cannot do. It can be done. It can be done. All the realized people, they say it can be done. In my life, I'm telling you, my experience through my life, it can be done. So, I'm just holding your hand and trying to take you a little ahead, making you inspired. So, Arjuna is being told, Chintam aparimeyam cha pralayantam upashritaha kamopabhoga parama etavaditi nischitaha. Taking to unbridled thoughts. Is it not very true? Unbridled thoughts ending only with death. Till we die, we will be constantly having these crisscross thoughts. Some thoughts are definitely, suppose it is regarding some very important matters, we have to think. But every day, if your aspiration is true and sincere and growing, you must find out how much time you are giving to absolute necessary things and unnecessary things. You will say that I don't get time. I don't get time. Everybody says I don't get time. But there are some few moments which are absolutely yours. Which are the times? When you take bath, when you dress yourself, sometimes when you're having a walk, just before you go to bed, some moments before that, absolutely yours. If you are not keeping the connection or thinking or introspecting how you can improve yourself, it is yourself hindering your growth. Who is hindering? You yourself. You allow your mind to go through crisscross. Then it says that taking to unbridled thoughts, ending with only death, indulging in gratifying desires with no let or hindrance. So maybe you start thinking about some spiritual subject which you have heard or read. Something comes up. Okay, tomorrow I will do. You go for that. So maybe some friend will call you. Let us go out now. So you cannot say no to that person. So you will go. And what will happen? Suppose in a ladder you have gone up this much, you fall this much. So what is necessary? That is what I told yesterday, one shloka from the second chapter. Ragadvesha vyuktaistu vishayan indreis charan atmavashyed vidheyatma prasadam adhigacchati. That is, you remain in the midst of activities, but you have to restrain yourself, restrain the senses, restrain the mind, and there are many other disciplines by which you will find that without hurting anybody, you can still tell people that, no, this is my time for, my practices, or I will do it later, something like that. You have to, so that transformation has to be one's own. One has to make some transformations. And it say that without let or hindrance, they resolve, this is all life is. This is all life is. This is the 10th one. Kamam ashritya dushpuram dambha mana madanvita mohat grihitvat asadgrahat pravartante ashuchiprataha. They resort to insatiable desire. Everything is there, everything is going on well, still mind is not fulfilled. Then you look forward to something new, buying something new, and going somewhere new, enjoy something newly. This comes in human mind, and coupled with ostentation. Coupled with ostentation. Who is telling whom? Krishna is telling Arjuna. And at the battlefield. So even in the battlefield, it is very, very relevant, as it is for all human beings. So when we read this, I'm saying, you are hearing, oh, where all I am ostentatious. Am I? How will I know that I am? Ostentatious may be like this. You feel that you are very spiritual. You show to others that I am very spiritual, I understand very well, I have these disciplines. That is also ostentation, if you are not true to it. If by all your disciplines you are not growing in loving the self more, understanding that this path is supreme, and your general inclination to the world, you do not, some of the attractions do not fall off. Everything is ostentation. You may be going to satsang, you may know many of the Upanishads, you may be chanting Vishnu Sahasranam and Bhagavad Gita by heart. All becomes ostentation. Because it is not helping you to grow. People will say, he knows the Bhagavad Gita by heart. Any shloka you tell from the middle, 10.4 he will say, 12.19 he will say. So people feel that, oh, very spiritual. Even in spirituality there is ostentation. You have to live the knowledge. Live the knowledge. But maybe the living becomes not 100%. But people should understand that He's trying, she's trying. So, with ostentation, pride, and arrogance. So, pride should not be there in behavior, speech, action, interaction. Arrogance should not be there. And holding to wrong ideas under sheer delusion. We hold on to our ideas. Where we become egoistic? With our ideas. My idea is the best. That is why people are not able to work in a group. What I say is the best. Why? Suppose there are 6 people and you find that your idea is not being taken. The 5 people are in unison, or maybe 3 are in unison. 4 are in or saying the same thing. 2 of you are not. Help them. Because the majority is saying something, try. Help them. Don't withdraw. Withdrawal is with ego. Because my idea has not been taken, so I withdraw. Because I know best that this is the right thing. My dear children, this Bhagavad Gita is not only the concepts. After all the concepts, Krishna has told how the mind can be purified, how the mind can become better, pure, sattvic, and restful, so that the self within you is revealed. And in the pure mind, the self gets revealed. Just like, suppose there is a vessel of water with clean water, transparent water. You put a pebble there. If you look into it, you can see the pebble very clearly. If you look, you can see even your own face. And suppose you put some mud into it, the water becomes muddy, you will not be able to see anything. Or okay, not mud. Suppose you just give some disturbance to the water. Then also, you will not be able to see your face or the pebble in the proper manner. The mind is just like that. Mind has to become pure, quiet, transparent, and tranquil. And how can that be done? Our mind is not so because we are thinking that only meditation, only worship, only listening, only the satsangs, only chanting will make us grow. We have to grow in the qualities. Like today, Swamiji was telling you about the sloka. Vishuddha sattvasya gunaha prasadaha swatmanubhutihi parama prashantihi triptihi praharshaha paramatmanishtha yaya sadanandarasam samrichyati. You know, this is one of the shlokas which Swamiji has taught us in the very beginning. I think I used to be in Kharagpur. Swamiji used to write. Those days, you know, no email, nothing. So everything is by post. Swamiji always used to type the English. So he used to send me letters, sending some slokas which are good for sadhakas, for the seekers. So the Sanskrit will be written in his own hand, and the meaning just below it typed in English. So this is one of the shlokas. Vishuddha sattvasya gunaha prasadaha. So I don't know how much I understood that. But the words, you know, it just hit me and went deep into me. What is this prasadaha? Placidity of the mind. And that placidity does not depend upon you have got whatever, your life is very okay, everything is okay. Then you have become very placid. This placidity doesn't depend on any object. Then, Vishuddha sattvasya guna prasadaha swatmanubhutihi, the experience of the self, paramatma nishtha. That is the nishtha. That is, your whole abidance will be on the self. Your every action will be guided by that nishtha. Now what is happening? The nishtha is on the world, more. More on the world, worldly affairs, worldly attractions, worldly distractions, or whatever you can say, and the nishtha on God or self to know is a little there, but not fully there. So, Paramatma nishtha, when one has to grow in it. It will be, the whole life will be only revolving around spirituality. You will never be able to forget that you are a seeker. And just like, say, children, say a child, what should be the child's behavior? It should be, say, a daughter or a son. It should be first a daughter-like behavior to the parents. When she goes to the school, it should be a student-like behavior to the teachers, say the elders. So when we are seekers, we have got a lot of responsibility actually. What is the responsibility? Everything that we do, we should not forget whether it is true for a seeker or not. You understand? It is true for a seeker or not. So that is why in 12th chapter, Krishna has told Arjuna lot of qualities about a bhakta, about a devotee. Everybody feels that I am a seeker, I am a devotee. Like she was saying that she has brought her Bhagwanji here to do arati and all that. Very good. But you have to understand what Krishna says, or any other scripture, Bhagavatam you see, there are so many qualities which have been listed out, which a devotee must have. And Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita that if a devotee has these qualities, this devotee becomes dear to me. So, we are not concerned whether God is liking us or not. We are not concerned. We feel I am a devotee. I am every day lighting a lamp, I am showing incense stick, or I am doing arati, or I am chanting so many things, I am reading Bhagavad Gita or any other thing. So I have done my work, finished. So I have done a devotee-like work. But what has Krishna told about the devotees? Have we given any thought on that? We have to think. First he says, Adveshta sarva bhutanam. That is, for all creatures do not have any kind of hatred or dislike. So are we? Tell me, who is there who does not have any kind of dislike to anybody? So, Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitraha, that is friendship, karuna evacha. Karuna is compassion, mercy, we must have. That is why it is always said in, say here you will find, Swamiji always says it is a mento-intellectual practice. We must think, we must introspect, we must assess and see that, oh, I want to be a good bhakta, I want to be a good seeker. So many things are being listed by Krishna. How many of them I have? So you know what I used to do? I kept in a notebook, listed out all of them, and every day I will go through them and see which I have been able to do and where I have failed. That is the sincerity. I don't think one has to spend any money to have that sincerity. And it will not take time. You can do it at the end of the day. Look at that notebook and you will find that you have been successful in many. And as you grow, you will be seeing that you are successful in many. And by that, what will happen? The mind will be expanded, loving everybody, loving everybody. The other day, Namrata was saying, when even in hospitalization, Ma asks the nurses and all the, whoever comes to clean the room and whatever, so how they are, what they do. It is true. The mind expanded. If I can tell you, and I think that this love, that all flooding love, all embracing love, the sensitivity towards everybody, that feeling of embracing everybody. You know, I'm seeing all of you. I only have a little sorrow that in this group we will not be able to meet everybody personally. But if there was time, we would like to do it and understand, or not to understand Whatever you say, we will listen. Just come closer. But even if it will not happen, you will all be in our minds. And every time our mind is flooded with your welfare and your peace, happiness, and fearlessness. So that you live the life beautifully, gloriously, as Swamiji says. So I'll tell you one incident. You know, I had a brain hemorrhage. I think it was at the end of 2015. And we have a Bhagavata Satram, yearly Bhagavata Satram of 10 days. The last day is a mega Vishnu Sahasrama, Archana and Yajna. About thousands of people, they participate. And we are on the stage, Swamiji, myself and Nutan Swamiji, we chant the Vishnu Sahasranama mantras like mantra, not the Parayana. Parayana means the slokas you chant. It is each mantra, each name will be chanted separately. And people sit in front of lamps which are decorated with a little Vedi we called. What is that? Vedi, you understand? A little elevated thing. On that we put rangoli and keep the lamps. Lamps are also decorated with flowers, kumkum, this, that. And it will be all straight line. And on the two sides of the lamps, those who want to participate, they sit, we give them flowers. And with each mantra, they offer the flowers, considering the lamps to be Bhagavan Vishnu. And there is a Yajna Kunda, where the fire sacrifice is done. Around that, 10 people sit with 10 items. So, as soon as I came to the stage, I felt that something is, some liquid is running in my head, and I felt very nauseated. But somehow, I don't know, I took an anti-vomiting, and whole program is 5 hours. Somehow I managed. But next day, also I was very sick. So I was rushed to the hospital. I was in the ICU. And then it was a hemorrhage, actually. So anyway, with God's blessings, nothing got impaired, the limbs and all that, speech or anything. But I definitely feel that I have lost two qualities. One is, I find it very difficult to arrange things and search for things. That has become quite stressful for me. So anyway, but it's okay. Whatever God has given, it's all right. So then, there was, because, we don't take onion, garlic, we take very sattvic food. So the chef came in the beginning with one person and understood the food. Then 2 boys used to come to write every day's menu. So one was Malayali, would speak in Malayalam. The other one, I found that he's struggling with Malayalam. So I asked him, are you a Malayali? He said, no. Where from are you? I'm from Nepal. So do you speak Hindi? He said, yes. So I said, oh. So then he started speaking in Hindi. Namrata was there with me. Another girl was with me. So all started speaking. So he felt very home. He said, I've just come for just 1 year. And then he said that, I think they said that he can call me Mataji. He said, no, I'm not going to call Mataji. I'm going to call Mammiji. So every time I used to tell him that, see, you should be very attentive, you should learn the work well, and always try to do work perfectly, excellently. And is there any scope of any promotion for you? And he said that, yes. So I said that in that case, you should be very attentive and grow in your work. And if you should not say that, oh, I'm so much away from home. These days, phones are available, talk to your people, and you are sending money, you are poor. So always keep the mind cheerful and like this. So one day, and he used to, mostly he used to bring the food. One day, he didn't bring the food, but he had come in the morning, he had said that he'll go back. No, he didn't bring the food. The food was not it was with onion and garlic. They made some mistake. So when the kitchen came to know, the chef came, everybody came running. And that time this boy also came and said that today I was told to give food to some other block, so I could not come today, but today I'm going away at 6 o'clock. So, okay. 8 o'clock my dinner came and I found that the boy is bringing the dinner. So I said that, Are, you said you will go at 6 o'clock. Why is it that you are here till 8 o'clock and bringing my food? Then he said that, no, my boss said that you know Mataji well, so you see to it that the food is okay and take. I said, but you came so early in the morning, you have not gone back to your quarters, and for my sake you sat for 2 hours. You know what he said? That he said in Hindi, many of you will understand, I'll tell in English also. He said, 2 घंटे क्या, आपके लिए तो मैं सारा रात जग सकता हूँ, आपने मुझे इतना प्यार दिया है, इतना प्यार दिया है. He said, why only 2 hours? I can wake up for you for the whole night because you have given me so much love. Now what love I have given? Only this, this mental embracing. As you will feel for your son, your daughter, I think for us sannyasis, we feel for everybody the same way. That is how we become the universal. I mean, our journey is to become like that. And I feel that everybody can take to that journey. It is only that mindness, only my family, constantly thinking about that. As Krishna is saying, what Krishna is saying, that Kamam ashritya dushpuram dambha mana madanvitaha mohat grihitva sadgrahat. With delusion, you are constantly thinking of, this is me, this is my family, this is my possessions, this is my wealth, these are my children, this is my family, and you are thinking only that. So you are holding on to, possessing, clinging. This becomes the suffering of the mind. So how will you go beyond that? So now, I again come back to it. We want to become Nitya Yukta. Now, where are you Yukta? With the family, with the worldly things. You are more, Yukta means united. You are more united with all these other things. But you are not united. Maybe for some time you are. When you are hearing, you feel inspired. But how to do it? Then he also says that Asha Pasha Shatair Baddhaha, entangled firmly by hundreds of chains of desire and expectation. Right? This is 16.12. Asha Pasha Shatair Baddhaha. Now, I tell you, many of you may be reading the Bhagavad Gita every day. Many have those practices. You should see every word. Don't be in a hurry. Maybe you read only 2 shlokas. And this book is very good. Swamiji has explained everything. So, wait, give some time, see whether these are in you. To what extent? To what degree? Can you remove them? How to remove them? And you discuss between like-minded people. If you don't get a saint to reply you. Asha pasha shatair baddhaha, entangled firmly by hundreds of chains of desire and expectation, taking refuge in lust and anger. Everybody has. They strive unjustly to amass wealth for gratifying their sensory cravings. You have dresses, still we go and get more dresses. We have maybe a very good car, but okay, this is not the latest car, so and here you trash everything, I know. Like I was asking the person who made the stage, so they were cutting this red cloth. So he bought a big roll, and they were took the measurement and cut. So I asked him, he's a Mexican. I said that, what will you do with this cut piece? He said, trash. So we Indians, we cannot even think of that. The manner, I can still hear the tone in which trash. So, uh, so amass wealth for gratifying their sensory cravings. It's not said that you should not, gratify sensory cravings, but to what extent? It should not become so that your connectedness you lose. Your connectedness you forget. Or even if you do, you associate it with it. Just like, suppose you are making a lot of, say, cooking, or maybe gone to the market, grocery, and whatever you have done, or in the office, you have done very well, you get some award. Never feel that I have got it. Feel that God, it is by God's blessings I have got it. Immediately what happens? Your ego gets sublimated. Then he says, today I have gained this object of desire. Tomorrow, idamadya, this is 16.13. Idamadya maya labdham imam prapsye manoratham idam astidamapi me bhavishyati punardhanam. So he says that today I have gained this object of desire, tomorrow I shall have that one. This much of wealth I have already have with me, and more will come to me in future. Are you able to connect? See, don't think Krishna has only told about samatva or dhyana yoga or sannyasa yoga. Krishna has said this, that all people have this kind of mind. Now, from this mind, you must try to become more sattvika. Then he says that I am the Lord. Oh, I'm so powerful. I've got so much riches. My bank balance is such. And suppose I fall sick, I can go to a very good hospital, get treated. So you feel that you are absolutely okay. I'm the Lord, I'm the enjoyer, I'm successful, I'm powerful, I'm happy. So this is my life. Who can change it? People forget that there is a supreme designer of our life. Supreme designer. I am abundantly rich. This is 15. The previous one was 14. So from 10 to 15, all are like this. I am abundantly rich. I am well born. Who is there equal to me? I shall do sacrifices. I will give liberally. Even in giving, one has ego. I have given. One gentleman in North India, people, they go to Haridwar, Rishikesh. They give to the wandering monks, sometimes kambal, blankets, sometimes umbrella. So one gentleman was telling Swamiji that he does a lot of dana like this, giving gifts. But he was saying, Swamiji, some people, when we are giving blankets, they say, don't give blanket, please, can you give me an umbrella? How can they ask for umbrella when I am giving blanket? I am giving blanket, they should be happy to take a blanket. But poor fellow doesn't need a blanket. Maybe somebody else has given a blanket. Poor fellow needs an umbrella. At least he can say that, okay, you wait. I will try to get one umbrella for you. Because he has money. He has money. He is collecting and buying and making dana. So he feels, I am giving, so you are obliged to take it. This is the dambha and arrogance we build in ourselves. Like Namrata was saying that day, that is another story. One day when we were distributing, we took so many children's clothes, blankets, ladies and gents' clothes. So we found at the, it was a very poor sight actually. At 12 o'clock or so, in the crossing of a road, few children. So why are you here? Their parents are still working in some shops. So they are there. So we took out, one boy, small boy, he wore the sweater. The sweater was only this much for him, very tight. So he understood it is tight for him. And then myself and Namrata, we were hunting for a bigger one. So he was feeling, the look in his eyes. He was feeling, suppose he gives away this, whether we will give him another one. Huh? So, but we found out one. Now, we used to carry various sizes. Actually, we used to sit in the back seat and dumped with things. So to find out the sizes would be very difficult at times. Somehow we found out one, and then we said that you wear this one. Now that became this big. It was very long for him. It was very, and we were inside the car, and one of our devotees was outside making him wear and all that. So then also that boy's face, that maybe we'll take it away, this one also. So I said that you come here. So from the window I said that, doesn't matter. He was saying, "Ye to bahut bada hai. This is very big for me." So I said, that doesn't matter, beta. We also sometimes get big things. So we fold. And then we fold the lower portion, then we fold our hands, so that you can wear it next year also. So then I folded for him everything. Oh, so happy he was. So happy. And another sad one, I remember it. Even now that word rings in my ear. We were giving it, that was in the morning. We had given to some place which is very poor, Juggis we call people, poor people stay there. So we had gone and given. So that boy was very happy holding the sweater and showing his dress which is torn, saying, "Mujhe ek dress de do, mujhe ek dress de do." That give me a dress to me. And we had not made arrangements for dress. And those are, like they move from place to place. So next day we will not find them. So we couldn't give it, but that rings in my ear even now. Okay. But I will say something more in this. Now to become Nitya Yukta, few things are there. Our life is in the world, right? How can you become Nitya Yukta? And our life is in this world, and whose is this world? God's world. So if we discuss this, so I am giving you an aim. What is the aim? Throughout whatever you do, I don't think whatever I want to tell you can be told. Maybe some through the question answer also I can do. But just this, remember this, that we want to remain connected with God, not only during our spiritual and devotional practices, but also in the midst of all activities, right? And how will we do that if we don't know who is God? We love people because we come to know them. Those whom we do not know even, we do not have that much of, fondness. I would not say fondness, but we don't know them. To love God supremely, we must know Him. So how to know Him? Either you listen to the Shastras or the Gurus and you think about His attributes. Think repeatedly about the greatness, the magnificence, the glories of God. And so, one of the shloka is Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate. That is, there is 10.8. It says, I am the source of everything. From me, all have emerged. And everything gets activated by me alone. Is it? Now, first thing, yesterday I said, you must have faith in what you hear. You may call it God, you may call it Brahman, you might call it consciousness or self. The fact is that there is a supreme power. And Krishna is saying, Aham sarvasya prabhava mattas sarvam pravartate. So, I am the source of everything, from me all are activated. Then he says, Yata pravrittir bhutam, this is 10.8. Okay, you can check later. Yata pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam. And that source, whom we are calling God, that source from which all beings have emerged and by which everything is pervaded. That is why he is omnipresent. So, we must remember this. Another thing he is saying, Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddeshairjuna tishtati brahmayan sarvabhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. This yata pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam, which shows that that source from which all beings have emerged and by which all this is pervaded is 18.46. Then I come to 18.61, where he's saying, Ishvara. Ishvara means Bhagavan. Sarva bhutanam hriddeshe Arjuna tishtati. Hey Arjuna, O Arjuna, God remains, is there in the heart of everybody. And what is he doing? Remaining there? Brahmayan sarva bhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. He is making us work as if we are machine, and he is the person who can control the machine. So all that is happening in our day-to-day life, everything is being designed and controlled by him. So only remember this, that he is inside me, he is controlling me, nothing belongs to me because I am on God's earth and the whole thing is God. As my body is created, every other thing is created. My buddhi, my intelligence, my mind, my limbs, my senses, my acting power, my capability, my competence, my efficiency or inefficiency, everything is created by him. Can you say that these are not created by him? Because he is the one. My dear children, this is what has to be remembered. Nitya Yuktam is not that you stop and think God, 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 God is there, God is there. No. In the mind and intelligence, this truth has to become stable. That is, you will never forget it. Where is your house? Who were your parents? Where were you born? Where have you grown up? Where have you studied? Which is your family? How many children you have? Do you ever forget? How much is your bank balance? Do you forget? Then, what is the difficulty in remembering this much, this simple thing, that I belong to God? I am God's and God is mine. I am part of him. I am his instrument. All that I am doing is as his instrument. Like the whole thing, all this, see, this morning they have done such a great job of shifting from there to here. I don't know how early they came, all the volunteers. I think some of you also who are staying here joined in and made this whole thing happen. But in all that, there is a joy to do the things because there is some program to look forward to make it look very beautiful. Everything is. But has any of you thought all that we are doing, we are able to do because we are God's. God is mine. I am God's. He has given me this power. Suppose those who are a little elderly cannot lift things, they should not feel that they have not joined in this venture. By your presence, you are doing that. By your good thoughts, you are one part of that. Those who are running about and doing, and those who are just watching, they are also doing. If their mind is noble and light. So this is the only thing I think we have to remember. In our activities, whether it is in the office, whether it is dealing with a difficult person, we can go all very, very deep into it. How do you interact with a difficult person? We have to do it always in the ashram, always. So many people coming, going, so many workers, each from different place, different nature, different everything. But all we can do well because we embrace everybody. We feel for everybody. So now I shall take the questions. How and when does one know they want to seek the path of self-realization? I gave some reply yesterday, but I was thinking that when somebody starts feeling that is the life like this alone, that we get up in the morning, we do the same things over and over again, and then night comes, we sleep off, and again next morning we do the same things over and over again, chewing the cud. So is this life alone that we get born, we get educated, we get some job, we get settled in our life, we make a family, we get old and we die? Is that alone? Maybe in the process, our children have got settled properly, we have amassed wealth, we are quite comfortable. But the body will decay, disease will come, old age will come, death will come, immature deaths may come. So is this life alone? Maybe in the process, we will be very well known, recognized, getting awards and rewards. But is this life alone? Is there a higher purpose of this life? When the mind starts thinking like that, then is the time, and it should start coming when you are young, When you think like that, that is the stepping into spirituality. Prahlada tells, when Prahlada was being taught by the teachers, his teachers used to go out for some time. Then he will call all his classmates and say that, see what they are teaching, it is only for materialistic gain. What we should learn is that God is everywhere, He is inside us. He is like the sky. So what is the difficulty in thinking about Him, feeling about Him, knowing that He is the refuge? He is our greatest friend, the nearest and dearest. See, even a husband and wife, mother and child, they are separate from each other. Their bodies are separate. And where is God? Inside you, the closest one, the dearest one, where you can turn to any time. You don't have to even ask whether he or she is free. Even husband and wives, I think they have to ask each other that, are you free? Can we do this or discuss this? He is the one, our greatest refuge. So Prahlada is saying, he is like that. And everything else is ephemeral in this life. Wife, children, possessions, wealth, education, house, everything, treasury, bank balance, everything is Shanabhangara Ayusha. It is ephemeral. It will end one day. And even the life will end. So as long as you are there with your mind and intelligence, do not waste time. Do not waste time. As soon as you know that there is a beautiful path in front of you, start walking on it. Maybe in one day you will not attain the goal, or maybe in 10 days you will not. But walking itself is joyous. My dear children, I want to tell you this, my experience. I'm always saying that I have been always inspired. The walking itself has given me so much of joy. It's not that I have not felt, oh, I'm not progressing, what will happen? But it has not made me depressed at all. It has not made me withdraw. It has made me think more and more using my intelligence, how I can walk in a beautiful manner. And whatever has come naturally. I never knew that I'll become a sannyasi. I never knew that I'll be talking and speaking. And whatever I talk, I think it just comes from my heart because I've experienced it. I have enjoyed singing devotional songs, bhajans from my childhood. I get more joy, peace by either reading Gita or other spiritual books. Any singing bhajans rather than 1 to 2 hours of sitting on meditation on cushion. Is it okay or I need to also do both? I'm for contemplation. Sadhak for 40 years. I'm getting stronger and humbler than ever before. I'm getting stronger in mind and humbler ever before. Please help. Whatever you do, you will have to see, you will have to think why you don't enjoy meditation. I think through your bhajans or reading, whatever I said this, Nitya Yuktata, if you can remember that I am united, I belong to you, even this reading that I am doing, you have given me the reading capacity. That is why, see, reading, hearing, everything, we should not forget that just now I said that our body, limbs, senses, mind, intelligence, ego, everything is given by that Supreme. Like a mother who is pregnant, a young girl, pregnant, she takes food, she is taken care of, but she has no control over how the child will be. Well, the child which is delivered will be intelligent or strong enough, healthy, or retarded and weak. Can we say? We have no control. So this very simple example should make us very humble. Do we have any control? It's true that most of the plans that we make are fulfilled. But that doesn't mean that it will not be unsuccessful also. So, in the other parts of Bhagavad Gita, Samatva is said, accept, and this Raga Dvesha should not be there, accept whatever comes, accept all kinds of situations. Now, I am talking to you about what Krishna has said about Nitya Yuktata. He says that Maya Veshya Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Paraya Petaha Te Me Yuktata Mamataha. I consider them to be the greatest ones, greatest devotees who are united and one with me when they are absorbed with me. They are infused in me. Their mind and intelligence always remembers steadily. They never fall from that truth. What is the truth? That I am God's. I belong to God. Nothing belongs to me. I can control nothing. This truth. We can always think, I am the self, I am the self. Just by saying I am the self, nothing will happen. You have to concentrate on the qualities of the self. That I am Niranjana, I am taintless. I am changeless. I am unaffected. On those qualities of the self, we have to concentrate. Similarly, when we think of God, and God is nothing but that same Brahman all-pervading, it becomes easier to think like this, that I am God's, God is mine, I belong, everything belongs to Him, I am an instrument in His hand. Whatever I am doing, whatever is I am being able to perform is because of Him, and I have no control over anything. If you feel like this, then you will find that slowly you are able to become established in that knowledge. You will not forget. There is in Mandukya Karika, there is one shloka, Tattvam Adhyatmikam Drishtva, Tattvam Drishtva tu Bahyataha, Tattvi Bhutaha Tadaramaha, Tattvat Aprachyuto Bhavet. What is it? Tattvam Adhyatmikam Drishtva. What is the Tattvam? That I am the self, or I am God's. This is the Tattva, the supreme truth. God is God or self or Paramatma, Brahman, everything is all pervading. Or it is the consciousness, the same presence everywhere. That self and self everywhere. That is by our intelligence we have understood. We have heard enough. But what we see that by knowing this knowledge is not relating to our everyday life. We are getting gripped by fear, gripped by anxiety, gripped by expectations, gripped by desires, gripped by sorrow. So it's not getting related. Now, we are trying to see what Krishna has said, how to remain in that tattva. So that shloka is saying, Tattvam Adhyatmikam Drishtva. Understanding the tattva spiritually. Tattvam Drishtva tu Bahyataha. Now, spiritually understanding the tattva that I am the self or I am God's, Tattvam Drishtva tu Bahyataha. That I am the self. It's not that everyone has different self. The same self is everywhere. Bahyataha means outside. So Tattvam Drishtva tu Bahyataha. Like I have realized my own self, I can feel it. The same self is everywhere. As in the beginning only I said that it is under a substratum of oneness, or you can say that plurality is there, but soaked in the oneness. In the substratum of oneness, all this plurality is there. Tattve bhutaha, you become the tattva. That is what I am saying. A mother, when she delivers, initially she'll feel that, oh, I have a child now. I have a child now. I have become a mother. After some time, will she have to think like this? The motherhood has come. And whatever is necessary for the mother to do that for the child, will she do? Will she not do? Has anybody to remind her that you have to breastfeed the child, give bath to the child, and see all the necessities and needs of the child? Anybody has to remind? Maybe initially the elders will remind. But after that, why? She has become the mother. So why don't we become a devotee? A seeker? Hearing and hearing and hearing and chanting and chanting and chanting. Doing bhajans and bhajans and bhajans. We have to be in that knowledge that I am God's. God is pervading me. So tattvi bhutaha, tadaramaha, rejoicing in that. Rejoicing in that. So when you rejoice in that tattva, whether you are singing a bhajan, keep on singing as long as you can. It's not that half an hour I have to do bhajan, half an hour I have to chant, half an hour I have to do meditation. No, 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 no. In whatever you do, you have to remember that I am a seeker, I am a devotee, I am connected to God. That is where you should be. You understand? I think most of the people are a little confused and deluded. Little bit of this, little bit of this, little bit of learning, little bit of hearing, little bit of chanting something. Do everything. And do your household work, and do your office work, and your domestic work, and do your professional work. Remembering what? I am the self, I am God's. God is mine, I am God's. I belong to Him. I am an instrument. Through me, He is making all this happen. Only because He is there, my limbs are working. I am able to walk, I am able to talk, I am able to eat, I am able to sit, I am able to do everything. With my mind and intelligence, I am able to perform. If I'm awarded, it is because he has given me that buddhi and that capability. But we don't remember. But is it difficult to remember? But it will be difficult, I know, because we forget. See, for so many years we have not practiced it. So today I'm telling you, and maybe you have got some kind of a clue. It will take some time. But if you are really, so they say that be fond of walking on the path. I find myself attached whenever I become close to someone I care or love. How can I love everyone and be dispassionate and not attached? See, in spirituality always tells us to be using our intelligence. And in Vedanta it says that we must be having nitya nitya vastu vivekaha. That is vivekaha. Have discrimination, do introspection, try to understand what you are doing right or not. Whether it is upsetting something or whether everything is harmonious by your being attached. If you find that everything is not harmonious, it is upsetting some already established relationships or work, then you should try to be moderate in that. So this moderation is also one part of spirituality. Be moderate. Be moderate. Not excessively joyous, not excessively depressed. Be moderate. How can I love everyone and be dispassionate and not attached? I think you have to come to the ashram and see us. We do not become attached to anybody. So, but we are attached to everybody. You know, in the ashram, there are so many workers. So, the workers who are of long ago, some of them have become grandparents. They are old now, but many of them, even though they have become old, they are not able to work very properly and efficiently, they would not leave the ashram. They say that, please allow us to work. Even if you ask us to pluck grass, we will do that. But as soon as we enter the gate of the ashram, our mind, our aches and pains of the body, they all go away and we feel very cheerful. So many of them are like that and doing. So now, some of them who were old-time workers, who were not very educated, their children, they studied, and so out of one worker I'm saying, her two daughters, they I think passed 12th class and then got some computer training, which we only helped them to do. They are working in our publication department. So that daughter, 16-year-old, she passed 10th class just now, very beautiful looking girl, and she got all A+, very good. So some neighboring persons, they said they're poor people. So said that he will sponsor her education. And she wants to do science. But just before we came to USA, 2-3 days before, so since this is a holiday period, she has not yet joined any college, she used to come to ashram every day, pluck the flowers for Pushpa Samarpanam and make things ready. Every day she was coming. Very sweet girl, promising girl, a soft-natured girl. So after just 2-3 days before, myself and Swamiji, we started from the ashram. She was not coming. I heard she had fever. Okay. Then when we were in Brentwood earlier, Northern California. So we heard that she has been hospitalized. Initially, they took her to a small hospital. There she started having seizures. So they shifted her to another hospital. There also seizures did not stop. Then they shifted her to a very good hospital in Cochin, and she's being treated there. But by the time she had gone there, she could not sustain her breathing, and she was unconscious. So she was put on ventilator. 17 days have passed, and she's in the ventilator. So many tests have been done. The whole team of pediatric neurologists, they have not found any reason. Still she is in that condition, sometimes having seizures and sometimes shivering and fever. So, and cost is going so much. So the panchayat they put up in the social media, people started helping them. The condition of that girl who works in our publication department. So, I coming to her question, that is, how can I love everyone and be dispassionate and not attached? See, whatever we are doing, our mind is there, thinking about her, thinking that she should become all right, trying to find out how help can still come in. And also, there are sometimes the mother is talking to us. This morning also she spoke, trying to make her mind feel peaceful. And we are not attached, but she is one in our family. Just like, any other person, when we see somebody, we do not know, somewhere some very accidents have taken place or something has happened, we feel very sorrowful. So, how can I love everyone and be dispassionate? You have to be very, very watchful, initially watchful. Slowly it will become your nature to love only and not getting that possessiveness or clinging. That will happen. So now, today I will stop with this. I started with Nitya Yuktata, and I said that Krishna has told Arjuna what is generally going on in everybody's mind. But that is very common to everybody. But how you can simplify your practice? Practices, whatever practice you do. But the aim of the practice should be that through everything, you should never forget that you are God's, or you can say, I am the self, I am not the body, I am God's, God is mine, I belong, everything belongs to Him, nothing belongs to me. That feeling, that will give so much of freedom. So, that tattvam adhyatmikam drishtva, tattvam drishtva tu bahyatah, that is, inside you find that tattva, the truth, the wisdom, and also outside that everywhere this is the same oneness, this consciousness or God. Tattvi bhutaha, you become that, just like a mother becomes a mother. Similarly, a seeker has to become a seeker, and devotee has to become a devotee, knowing what qualities God would like in me. Similarly, for seekers also, there are qualities which Krishna has told Arjuna that you must have these qualities. Then only your mind will become calm and you will be able to retain what I am telling you. Arjuna's mind was disturbed. So how could he take all the wisdom that Krishna gave him? Krishna has told how to do that also. So that also we have to understand. Then tattvi bhutaha tadaramaha, rejoicing in that truth, that I am God's. Nobody can take me away from this belief. I am God's, and everything is happening because of Him. I should not have any ego, any pride, any feeling of that I should be praised, I should be recognized. I should do my best. Mukta Sangha Samachara, Krishna has said in 3rd chapter. Samachara means do excellent. Give your best, but Mukta Sangha. Don't ask for any reward, award, appreciation, praise, etc. Do your best. Whether you are a housewife, whether you are a professional, whether you are a student, everywhere we have to give our best. Tattvi bhutaha tadaramaha. Tadaramaha means rejoicing in that. Tattvat aprachyuto bhavet. What does it mean? From that tattva, from that supreme truth, don't fall ever. Her mother has delivered. Initially she feels that, oh, I'm mother. Now my life will be different. I'll have to take care of the baby. I'll have to remember when to breastfeed, when to bathe him, and if one medicine to be given, and everything. You know it very well, how long it takes to make a child grow. And when very soon, nobody has to remind her. From that feeling of I am the mother, does she fall? Ever? Ever? Similarly, a father doesn't fall. Why? No, you should not fall also. Why should you fall? You are a father, you are a mother. Similarly, children, these are my parents, I have duties towards them. So, from that relationship, you don't fall. So here, having this tattvam adhyatmikam drishtva, tattvam drishtva tu bahyatah, that is, I am God's and God is mine. You become a devotee, you become a seeker and never fall from that. That is very simple, is it not? Is it difficult? Huh? Not showing any enthusiasm. I think it is very difficult thing that I am saying. You will forget, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. You will forget. Why? Why? Because you have trained yourself to forget. You have trained yourself to forget. Now train yourself not to forget. That is the effort. That is why Krishna has said, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara. That is why every time remember me. Every time remember me. And yudhyacha. That is fight. Now Arjuna is to fight in the battlefield. And we have to fight either around us or in our mind. Many times mostly it is in our mind that we have to fight. Mostly it is in our mind. So, forgetting is okay. I'll stop with one sloka from Bhagavad Gita. Oh, this is such a wonderful book. Wonderful book. You should fall in love with this book. It's Bhagavad Gita itself. This is 10.4 and 10.5. What is Krishna saying? He has said, Aham sarvasya prabhavaha. From me everything emerges. I make everything active, etc. He is also saying, this is 10.4 and 5. Buddhir jnanam asammohaha kshama satyam damashamaha sukham dukkham bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayameva cha ahimsa samata tushtihi tapo danam yasho yashah bhavanti bhava bhutanam matta eva prithag vidhaha. He says that all these sentiments, emotions, feelings of the mind, everything is emerging from me alone. All these various expressions. So your forgetfulness, your remembrance, your being lazy and your being active, everything is in him. So if you are lazy for some time, say you don't want to make effort. I have to sit for meditation, I have to think like this. I want to tell all of you, the sadhana is not like that. Sadhana should be natural. You do your work and you keep on thinking. Use your intelligence, use your discrimination, use your mind and intelligence and keep on doing and thinking. But remembering this, what he says, intelligence, knowledge, freedom from delusion, tolerance, truthfulness, sensory restraint, calmness of mind, happiness, unhappiness, existence, non-existence, fear, as well as fearlessness, non-hurting, equality, contentment, austerity, charitable acts, fame, ill fame, all these are various expressions in humans arising from me, the Supreme alone. So suppose one day you have forgotten, or you find yourself lethargic. Okay, this also is in the self. No, you should think like that. But that is not alone. Somewhere else, Krishna has said, you don't be lazy. You have to remember that also. So every day you cannot become lazy. Every day you cannot be forgetful. You understand? You have to mix everything. All the slokas are related somewhere or other. It's not that all are disjointed. But if you are forgetting, don't become disappointed. Suppose you find that you are forgetting too much, or you're becoming lazy too much, then cry to God, the one who is inside. Weep and say, I don't want to become like this, because you have shown me who is a good devotee, who is a good seeker. I want to become like that. Okay? Okay, I stop. Sampurnam jagadevanandanavanam sarvepi kalpadrumaha gangam vari samastavari nivaha punyas samastah kriyah vachah prakrita samskrita shrutishiro varanasi medini sarvavasthitirasya vastu vishaya drishti parabrahmani sarvavasthitirasya vastu vishaya drishti parabrahmani. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru.